Okay, do you want to pour tea?
Yeah, I want to pour
Before
the
we...
tea. Brisbane breakfast.
Brisbane breakfast. Creativities, as always. Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay.
Hello.
Welcome to another episode of Creative Living.
Yes.
Do we introduce ourselves again?
Yes, I'm Max.
And I'm Amy.
Oh, there's a lot of steam.
Get rid of my pimples. Today we're going to talk about creative ideas and the abundance of ideas and what to do when you have a lot of them, and also talking about like stagnation of ideas.
Yeah.
It's going to be broad.
Yeah, it's just going to be ideas, creative ideas, basically.
That sounds good.
So we were just talking about, do you want to broach that thing that you were just talking about?
I'm just going to quickly look at the word again so I don't say it wrong. Entropy. So, I was talking to my partner about the concept of entropy, which is this idea that if we leave something on its own, it disintegrates and dies and becomes not useful. So, if I was to leave this cup of tea, it would become gross and useless to me. It would disintegrate. And just like in nature, if we left like flowers alone, they disintegrate. The things that we leave untouched decay. And that's the idea of entropy. And the idea is that when we give our energy to stuff, when we create things, we counteract that decaying, and we kind of combat the disintegration of the universe. Like we bring new things into the world, and that's what we do when we create and make art, is we are combating this idea of everything just decaying and becoming useless.
And I like it because, I mean, when you were just saying that, I had this idea of, I mean, it's a little bit lame, but just the seed. Yeah. And you water it and you fertilize it and it grows. And I feel like a lot of the time I get so many ideas and things that I want to do, and I'll leave it there and expect it to kind of have its own power without me having to do too much. But the times where I really invest and I really put energy into something and I really nurture it every day, then suddenly it grows and it flourishes. Yeah.
So the idea of entropy in a creative way is talking about how we need to give time and action and love to our ideas, otherwise they're going to decay by themselves. And I like that. It feels so powerful. Like we have the power to create, things, but we do have to take action. You actually have to do something about it. And not, I mean, I'm so guilty of like starting an idea and not finishing it, and then thinking, oh, that was a bad idea, but the idea itself was probably a really good idea. It's just I didn't follow through. I didn't nurture it. I didn't believe in it. I didn't keep going even though I wasn't getting any results, or people weren't responding the way I wanted them to respond. And then you leave it, and then it becomes like an old cup of tea. It dies and you don't want to drink it anymore. No, it's moldy, it's yucky, gross. I think that as creatives, and I speak to a lot of writers who are like, I have 15 story ideas and they're all incredible. It's a really common thing for writers to have a lot of ideas.
I've got the same, but with short stories and films and TV shows. So they're the same thing.
Yeah, and that's so exciting. Like, it's a sign of a truly creative person. Like, all you want to do is bring newness into the world, like refreshing the world with all this great, new, vibrant, thriving stuff. But if you have 15 great ideas and you look at them and you get totally overwhelmed because you have 15 ideas and like which one do you start with, then they're going to decay because you don't know where to put your energies. And the truth is you can't write 15 books at once. I just don't know anyone who's done that before.
That would be...
Yeah. And you can't create film scripts.
No.
And, like, you can't do it all at once.
You can't produce 15 films in one go. Yeah.
And so it's about, I think at the end of the day, it's about discipline. And it feels so magical when you have all these ideas, and it's very like ethereal, and like you get really pumped up by having all these thoughts about the things that you're going to create. But at the end of the day, if you don't sit down and make a plan, then I don't know if anything's going to manifest itself into reality.
Such a good way to put it. And it's almost like it's the idea itself is really exciting and beautiful, and it's in its early stages, and it always changes, nearly always changes. But it's also a bit of a formula. Yeah. So when you say discipline, that it goes hand in hand. It's like you can't have an idea and not have the discipline to follow it through and to make it grow and to nurture it and let it change. And to look at it sometimes from not so much the perspective of the artist and this artistic idea, but to look at it like, okay, like I need to be practical about what I'm going to do. Like, what are my steps? What am I going to do today? And what do I need to do tomorrow to actually make it work?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it doesn't sound as exciting.
No, it doesn't. And it's often really boring.
Yeah.
The amount of times that you have an idea and you're like, oh my God, it's going to be so good, but I have to do this and this and this and this first. Or, you know, or the groundwork.
Yeah. As an analogy with like getting fit, you get a huge endorphin rush when you say I'm going to run a marathon, and you get big levels of hormones when you commit to something like that. So you already feel like you've almost already done it, like chemically. So if you commit to doing a marathon, you get the chemicals, you feel amazing, but then you have to do the steps. Like you can't just commit to something, feel good, and then do it.
Yeah,
there are those steps in between.
Collapse.
Exactly what you were saying.
Yeah, all the hard work, the days where you don't feel like getting up in the morning at 5 a.m. and going for that run that you need to do. Like it's all the grueling stuff that actually is the part that turns the idea into something more than just an idea. It turns it into something more
tangible.
Yeah, I was going to say physical, but it's not really the right word.
Something that's real, something that you get to share. You're stopping the entropy and you've actually created something. And so having the idea doesn't stop the decaying of the idea. You have to put it into action.
No, it's kind of like a little embryo.
Yeah.
Like it's not even there yet. It hasn't even, you know, you've got 9 months of preparation really before you see anything.
Yeah. Exactly, Mackie.
Just had the worst image.
Tea came out my nose. But you're right.
Yeah.
And I also kind of wanted to talk about this idea of ideas as like almost supernatural. And we were talking a little bit about this before. The idea that there are all these ideas and possibilities of creation in the air around us. All this, like, they are there. It's all this possibility.
Yeah, potential.
Yeah, potential. That's the word I was trying to find. There's so much potential all the time, everywhere. And it's our job to bring these ideas into our lives and then manifest them into reality.
I'm sorry, I'm still a little bit giggly. No, but it's so true. And I mean, for the example, like what we were saying about Microsoft, for example, like with Bill Gates, like that was an idea that he had and everyone said, that's silly. Like, why would you have a computer in your home? There's no way people would end up having a computer in each of their homes. It's just the most ridiculous idea. But that idea in itself would have just been this like little floating thing that anyone could have picked up on at any point.
Yeah, and
but
someone else
the
would have
work,
done it if he didn't.
Yeah, but the work that went into it to actually turn it into something was what made it so great. It wasn't actually the idea as much as the tangible.
Liz Gilbert talks about how she was writing a book. She speaks about it in Big Magic, which is an excellent book for any creative. Just putting that out there. She talks about how she was writing a book. She details the book. I think it's about South America and a mining town in South America. She speaks about it, blah, 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 but then she gets distracted from this idea and it decays and she just completely drops it. And a few years later, Anne Patchett, another writer, publishes a book that is essentially Elizabeth's idea, just Anne Patchified, like she had put her mark on it. And she describes how she feels like that idea was taken in by Liz, like on the street. And then she took it in, she tried to do what she can, and then she let it go, and it went to somebody else.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, Liz Gilbert's version of what she was going to do with it, like, that doesn't exist anymore, that decayed, and it's not here. But the essence of it was given to someone else. And I think that's it, like, kind of makes me panic a tiny bit, but, like, in a good way. And I have to tell my story way. Like,
oh, yeah.
You know, like, these ideas that come to us, you know, take the opportunity when you have it. It's not going to sit there forever. You have the drive now. You need to make a plan now.
But it's also like maybe when you have 15 ideas running through your head, or 50, to go through and write a list and write them all down in detail and look at each one of them and then pick maybe your top 3 and then let the others go.
Yeah, to give to somebody else.
To give to someone else.
Like a gift.
Or to come back later and go, actually, I'm ready now. Like,
see if it's still there.
See if it's still there.
Like, but, hey, I'm back. Are you there?
Yeah, but to be okay about letting them go, because I think sometimes we hold on to things so much. We hold on to a million different ideas that we don't actually want to...
So...
Well, it's not... Actually, it's more that we hold on to so many that we're not prepared to actually just follow one through and let the others go, whereas maybe that's the point, is pick one.
Yeah.
Pick one, pick two.
Do you want to talk about some of the different ideas that you've had going on and how you are enacting this?
Yeah, so I've had the feeling that I've wanted to do a web series for a long time since I was studying, and I've had a few ideas come in and out, and I'll wake up in the middle of the night and just have like an idea that I have to scribble down before I can go back to sleep. But there was one idea that I started writing. I started writing a script, and then I hit, I don't know, a block, because I'm not a writer by nature. Like I find it really hard. I mean, hats off to writers. Seriously, it's amazing. So I tried writing this idea, and then I hit some story blocks, and I just didn't really know how to follow through with it. But it's probably one of those ideas that's probably going to decay if I don't come back to it. And it's just sitting there because I'm like, ooh, like I know it's a great idea, and I know it's worth writing, and I know it's something that people would be interested in, but to actually go, oh, like this idea is so great, but it has to change. And I think maybe that's what the block is that I'm going, but I wanted this, but it's probably going to be turning out to be this. Yeah. And like letting it
I think a really good way to dive into your box of ideas is, first of all, you have to pick one, which is hard, but you have to do it. So you make yourself pick one, and then you let your work be shit. Otherwise,
it's true. Yeah.
I think it's ironic, but to stop ideas decaying, you have to let them be completely crap.
Yeah.
Especially at the beginning. You're going to make it better, but if you don't allow it to be crap at the beginning, it will die. Which is just ironic.
Yeah, it is funny that way. And often, I think, when you think something's crap, other people think it's, like, brilliant as well.
And also, like, we have to allow ourselves to, like, figure things out initially. Like, you can't just put a fully formed story onto the page. Like, you can't just perform brilliantly initially, you know? You have to figure things out. And so I think that's a really big part of keeping the idea alive, is giving it the space to not be perfect straight away.
So I was really good in the sense of picking an idea and going, like, I feel this one, and it keeps coming back to me. I think that's also when you know it's a good idea. It's when it just
stays. It
stays
it's
with you.
Buzzing.
Yeah, and you're like, I've got to do something with that. But at the moment it's needs some love, needs some attention.
Yeah.
And I don't mind it being a long-term.
Oh no, yeah, that's not
idea
that's not
as well.
decaying.
Yeah, I
as
don't mind it
feeding it,
taking its time.
I have for my first book, it took me ages to write, like absolute ages, which is okay, and I accept that of myself because it was such a huge learning curve. But it took me like 5 years to write my first book, and like about halfway through, I had an idea literally shoot down from the heavens into my mind, nearly fully formed. Like, it was crazy, and I was like, but I'm doing this book, but now I have this like crystal clear, fucking great idea, and I felt really torn. I was so devoted to this book. I'd spent 2.5 years writing it, and I was like, no. And I can't like just give up on this book and write another one. Otherwise, that's going to be a continual cycle of what I do. That's how I'm going to write. Only write half books. So it was a historical novel. I could see it. I loved her immediately. As soon as I felt her, I literally sat down on a couch and a story arrived in my brain. It was crazy.
That's kind of what they said about J.K. Rowling. She's sitting on a train. Yeah.
My first book did not come that easily. But this book arrived in my heart, and I gave it tiny bits of attention for the next 2.5 years. So I bought a book for it, and every now and again I'll do research, and I'd put things in. I'd write down my ideas. I wasn't writing it. I was writing my first book. But I would just pay her tiny bits of attention over the next 2.5 years. And I finished her. Like, she kept alive. Like, and that book, I have it at home. Like, it kept her alive. You know, I just fed her. I was like, I'm here. I'm not fully here, but I'm here. And then she was still available for me, and that idea was still available for me when I finished my first book.
Yeah, just little bits of love.
Yeah, just tiny bits of love, just like keeping that idea alive.
What do you do? Have you ever had moments where you feel like you're lacking inspiration or ideas for maybe parts of the book that you've been writing? Or
literally, right at this moment, I'm writing my third book, and I haven't written properly for like 3 months. And I've just hit a massive story block, and it's really hard. And this morning I sat down and I was like, and I will find anything to do but write this book at the moment, because I know every time I sit down, I'm like, I don't understand what I've written. This isn't good. But I sat myself down this morning. I was like, this is your first draft. You have one rule, which is let it be shit. And I'm like, but it won't make sense if I write what I want to write now. I'm like, it's not making sense. The stories don't match up. Narratives don't work. But I've just kept writing. And future Amy is going to have to deal with that. But the full book needs to be down, and I need to keep writing. So I often just set aside like an hour, and I say, just write. It doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter what comes out. I just need you to write. I did that. It's good. If you let yourself write, even when you're so confused, so blocked, so uninspired, stuff comes out. But you just have to let yourself write. You have to let the muse speak through you, and you have to do the typing. And it's not
it's
good,
almost like you need to get out of your own way.
Yes.
I've heard of people who say, I mean, actually, great ones, Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way, which the artist date. That's probably a really great strategy to use if you're feeling a little bit uninspired or you need to get out of your own way. Go and do something physical, or go and put yourself in a new
space by
yourself. And not beat yourself up so much.
The other thing I think is really good to keep life in an idea is to tell someone your idea. So I've been feeling not good about this book. I was like, is this a failure halfway through? Maybe this just isn't, especially because my last book came out so easily. This one, I feel like and I was feeling really low. I hadn't touched it for months, and I went out for dinner with my partner, and he was like, well, just tell me about it. I don't know much about this book. Talk about it. And as I was telling the story to him about what happens, I was like, fuck, this is a good book. She has soul in her. And as I was telling him this story, I just felt the rush of this story idea, and I just knew that I just got to get past this. She's still vibrant and alive and got so much potential.
Oh, that's so nice.
I know, it was so good because I was feeling so shit about it. But speaking ideas to someone gives them power. Because
it makes
when we cuddle them,
real
exactly. Yeah. You've given it to someone else. You've shared what you're doing, and I think when we hide our ideas close to our chest, sometimes they can feel completely unreal. And giving them to the world is really, really powerful. Speaking's really powerful. Writing's really powerful too.
Yeah.
Just
putting it out there,
putting it into the universe, letting the universe know I intend to write a book about this. It's going to be very, very good, and it's going to be published. Just letting everyone know what your intentions are with this idea.
Yeah.
Should we do a short one today?
Yeah, I think that's a short one.
It feels good.
Yeah, it feels good.
Nice.
I'm glad we spoke about that.
Yeah, me too. It's an important concept, I think.
I think it is, and I think it's underestimated a lot of the time.
Yeah.
The power of just that.
Yeah. And also, just people know that it's a really awesome thing to have a million ideas. And that's not a bad thing. But it's just about making sure that you have the power to bring one of them to life.